I'm your host, and we are going to be painting for the second week in a row some BattleTech minis. Here's my beautiful little guy here. He is a um, part of Minty's Marauders, so I'm doing a mint chocolate chip theme, which I think is upsetting some people, at least some people here at the store. But we're joined today by our good friends Mark and Will. Let's bring them forward. Wow, look at that. What's up, guys?
We did it.
Hey,
Yeah.
what's going on?
Hey.
Chilling. How was your guys' week?
It's been interesting so far. We've got school is out tomorrow. They got a half day left, and they're tiny bit excited, just a smidge.
Nice.
It's kind of like that, I suppose.
That is pretty cool. Does that mean your littles are going to be painting more miniatures?
Perhaps if they want to sit down and hang out with Dad doing that, that'd be pretty sweet.
Sick. Heck yeah.
My youngest does have some guys he wanted to show off later too.
Oh,
Nice.
that's awesome.
Right. Very cool.
Grant will be on. That's amazing. Yeah.
That is amazing. Have either of you had the opportunity to get some tabletop play in this week since last we saw each other?
I got quite a bit, and I think Mark did too.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
2 conquest games, so that's been exciting. I finally based, the sea otter, which we painted airbrushed on I think the first or second episode. So he's finally based. And we did the snow kind of flock stuff, and then some winter tufts, which is nice.
Looks really good.
Yeah, this guy came out good.
Really
I did have a casualty war, and I broke his ponytail off, and I can't find it. So,
oh no,
shorter pony.
How about you, Will? What'd you get in?
I've gotten in a couple games, and I was actually just realizing I wanted to grab a picture from the games and put it over.
Nice,
oh, smart.
All right.
I was super excited last Friday. We had half the tables were playing Conquest Friday night. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
For Conquest Vanguard Will, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Look what you've done.
I don't know, man. That's crazy. It's like they got a good game or something. I barely tried.
Yeah.
It is a pretty cool game. We also on Sunday here at the store we had a really decent BattleTech showing. Where one of our local ambassadors for BattleTech came out and showed a bunch of people how to play Alpha Strike, which is their lower barrier to entry game feature within the BattleTech realm, and they had a great time showing that off. Had probably 8 people come in to learn how to play. I think it was like 8. So yeah, it was a good day.
Wow.
Nice.
All right, let's see these photos of play.
So we got 3 tables there. The one that I was at with my buddy Charlie, and then we got 2 other sets going there. The guy that you can barely see him with the green hat in the back there, that's Matt. He just started playing Conquest with our Grow League. Yeah, and he's gone all completely in. He's on track to get first or second place in the Grow League. He's just fallen deeply in love.
Nice.
He's a force to deal with now. It's awesome.
It is. He's been very diligent in regards to getting his points for painting and everything, and his painting has actually gotten really good.
Yeah, that was truly impressive.
Yeah. Who's on track to be first in the Grow League?
Be that guy.
I am actually. That's just crazy. With this Matt character, if he gets it, very commendable. I'll shake his hand, but I really hope I get it because what's up for grabs is a Tantor, and I bought some Wadroon about a year ago. Some stuff to get that, and speaking of that, I got this guy together.
Oh, sick! Yeah, I don't think I even have that one.
I technically bought this for my wife because I was like, if they're dinos, would you play? And that's what we call them, dinos. And my daughter, at least. And so she's like, yeah, absolutely. And then, so anyways, now time to pay the piper. So if I got that Tantor, I think I'd be right around 2,000. Pretty close.
Nice.
I have to grab a couple extra things from you at the old Hoplite Games there in Lansing, Michigan. But
that's right. It's where everything happens. It's super fun. Just want to say hi and shout out to everybody that's watching right now. We got about, looks like on my end, I see about 26 viewers. So
Nice.
if you're watching, we love it when you comment and hang out with us and talk to us about what kind of hobby you're currently working on. Are you building a model? Are you painting some stuff? What are you painting, and what for what game, and for what purpose? Are you um, beginning the path of the brush? Have you been on it for a while and now in a more competitive role? We'd like to hear about what your experience is.
And quick backtrack. There's also these on. These are going to be for prize support too. Finally got these.
Mm,
Herald of Fire and a Scald.
nice. I've actually got something else I'm throwing into the prize support too for the Conquest event this Saturday. I've got the mini Sultans.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
Is that the dude on the elephant?
He's very tiny. He kind of looks like Ariel's dad from the cartoon with the big
Yeah.
turban and everything. But it was a cool like giveaway, or well, you had to buy it, but it was at Adepticon. So I picked up a couple of them for prize support for the event, and now we get to finally give them away. So it'll be fun.
Yeah, those are con exclusives.
Yeah, I can dig it.
Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be at the tournament. I've got a wedding to attend, which is
What?
most likely going to pull me down because it's what you get a point for playing,
Hmm.
a point for winning and a point for playing, right? So
Yeah,
whoever, if up to 6 points, correct? It's best of 3 there.
something like that. Yeah,
So
but
that's where I'm afraid that's where I'm going to lose my footing. But
so who's getting married? Like your sister or your brother?
are you getting married? No, it's a cousin. But
Ah,
right, it's a family affair.
that's funny. Well, you will be missed because you're fun to have around the store, and also to hear your banter when you're playing the games.
It is fun, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then you guys had like a little Star Wars thing, some
Yeah,
preview of
last
some
night.
games and things. Yeah.
Yeah, so last night we had a paint and preview or paint and watch party. So a bunch of folks came on. We had about 13 people, and we watched the season premiere of The Acolyte episodes 1 and 2. Dropped yesterday, and so we watched that while painting miniatures from Star Wars Legion or whatever the individuals may have brought themselves to paint or build or whatever. And it was a lot of fun. We had I'm not going to do any spoilers in the around the show, but the characters that they have introduced are super interesting. The story is like a crime revenge story. It's got a hint of like a mystery theme going on to it. The one thing I will say about episode 1, it was like watching Crouching Tiger, Hidden Jedi. It was
I
a
would.
mix. It was a mix of martial arts in the styling of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon with the whole Jedi vibe as well. So it was freaking awesome.
Oh no, that sounds like it's tailored specifically for me.
Right? How dare they
Oh man,
know my favorite things?
did they have spaceships and lightsabers?
They had they had like 3 or 4 spaceships, all new designs. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, yeah, every ship was a new design. I had never seen it before in any other episodes or any other shows. So, but I also could have missed them, but I had never seen them before. So it was super cool.
Well, that is actually a good segue for a question I had for you guys today. It's
Okay.
one of
Okay.
my favorite things that they do in shows, particularly sci-fi shows, is they like, although the ship may not have a voice, it becomes a character.
Yeah.
And so, what are some of your favorite ships? And it doesn't have to be a spaceship; it could also be a boat, right? I'm sure you probably got a boat to relate about, Rick. You certainly like your boats.
I do like my boats.
Yeah, it took it really took me aback when I realized just last year that the Rocinante from The Expanse had eclipsed the Millennium Falcon in my my
Really?
internal tier list of spaceships. I
What?
love that ship. I love the Rossi.
Okay. As far as like ships that I'm really excited, like I find them to be exciting and cool. I'm a big fan of the Galactica from
Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica. It's a and also the Vipers, right, from there as well. So those are super cool ships. Um, Obviously, I
Galactica was
like.
definitely a character.
Oh, for sure.
Don't take all
Um,
the good ones there, Rick.
I'm sorry. And then obviously the Millennium Falcon is on my list, but not so much because of its notoriety and everything. But if you watched the Han Solo the Solo movie, you get to learn more about the ship, right?
Hmm.
About the personality of the ship, right? So, um, and I don't mind spoiling if you haven't watched Solo. It's been out long enough, so go watch it. But there is an android or a robot droid that is companions with Lando Calrissian that gets wicked, shot up and is on the verge of like just being like turned off or whatever, and they upload the nav system from that robot into the Millennium Falcon, which gives it one of the best nav systems in the galaxy, right? And it's kind of neat how the personality of the robot is transferred into the Millennium Falcon. So when C3PO in episode 1 is or R2D2 is communicating with the ship, they respond with, this ship has a weird like personality.
Vocabulary, yeah.
Yeah, weird vocabulary. And it's
It's
kind of explained. And I thought that was made the Millennium Falcon even more of a icon and a character within the movies and stuff. So yeah.
I love that too. Like the soul of the Falcon is that
Hmm.
like has that angle that character was great and lovable and
Hmm.
carried forward. That was pretty sweet.
Agreed. So how about you, Will? What's a ship or vessel that you find to be quite the character?
Besides the Rossi, there's always Serenity from Firefly.
Sure.
I kind of love how I don't know if it was ever in like explicitly stated, but Kaylee is always supposed to have been the soul of the ship and like the voice of it, and it was neat that their spaceship had an avatar like on
Hmm.
inside of it, like that could speak for her. So I
Yeah.
always was very fond of that, and it
Nice.
was heartbreaking. The leaf on the wind, so on and so
Hmm.
forth.
Yeah. Kaylee was the mechanic. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mark, what about you?
I mean, you're gonna have to put the Enterprise right
Oh,
on there.
Yeah.
Some Star Trek on there. I mean, obviously Millennium Falcon. Interesting enough, I rip on Saga the comic book, but their ship was a tree. It grew from an acorn and it was a tree,
Oh, snap.
which is kind of neat. It was all made of wood or whatever.
Hmm.
Um, that was just like a more recent one that I thought was kind of a unique spin on, like kind of a ship like that.
Okay.
But I mean, if we're talking, we can go ships like the Jolly Roger or something
Uh-huh.
like some classic pirate type
Hmm.
ships. Black Pearl. I
Black
know we're talking
Pearl.
space here, but since you guys took all the good ones, I thought I got to get nautical.
I don't think we took all the good ones because there's still like the Andromeda, right? Which was a really fun series. There's the Nostromus from Aliens. There's
Um,
the Cylon fighters
yeah,
were,
and
were super cool.
the battle stars were no, what were
The
those?
Vipers.
No, the Cylon big ships, the capital ships.
Oh, the capital ships. Oh yeah, yeah. I don't know.
I
Yeah, if
should be
anybody.
flogged because I didn't mention Moya from Farscape.
Oh, that was the living ship, right?
Yeah, she
Yeah,
was like a whale, and she had pilot, and they're like, oh man, what is that great story?
right. Wasn't what was the one that oh, I'm gonna lose it. Not Flash Gordon, but Buck Rogers had his own ship as
hmm.
well.
Oh yeah,
And
That one kind of didn't that one kind of inspire the snow speeders and Hoth?
I think it did. Yeah, I think it did.
It has similar kind of silhouette, like from top down at least.
Oh,
yeah.
The Thunder Fighter.
What's that?
The Buck Rogers ship.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what it was called, the Thunder Fighter.
Thunder Fighter. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that was a cool ship.
Yeah, and that definitely looked like a snow speeders for sure.
Yeah.
You're saying kind of may have inspired that.
Oh, what about the Macross? There's a good ship.
Jesus, that's the one that looks like a aircraft carrier in space.
Yeah,
man,
Yeah,
that's good. We're digging deep, and I like that.
That thing's ridiculous. There was a kid at C2E2 that had a big model of that ship, and he was pushing it around. He was dressed in officer's attire, and it was playing the Macross theme song as he's walking around, and also doing like battle station alerts and all this other stuff. I was like, I mean, went all in. It was
built it.
I don't know if he. I mean, I think he probably did. But he seemed kind of like the crafty type, but it was probably a good 5 to 6 foot long. It was huge. Yeah. So, all right.
Living the best life.
I am going to do on my Minty chip models here for BattleTech. I'm going to put a dark tone over it. And I'm only doing this because last night on the Citizen Gamer podcast, Jeff said it would probably help pop the mechs out a little bit. So, or he just hated the color and wanted it to be muted out. So we'll find out here.
It was just too out there for him.
Yeah. Oh, it was. He's like, I don't like it. And I'm like, well, that's okay. We're just having fun. So
I love that he didn't like it. That's perfect.
Yeah.
That's funny. All right. So Discovery 1 from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Oh.
Ooh. Yeah, that.
I had to look it up. I cheated a little bit, but I was looking at notable spaceships, and I was like, oh yeah.
That's a good one. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that.
What are you doing, Dave? Yeah.
From Black Hole. Remember that movie? What was that ship?
What was that ship called?
Yeah, from Black Hole, or the ship from Event Horizon.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Ooh. That's one of those ships you don't want to like. Oh, hey,
That's
look.
The Cygnus was from Black Hole.
Okay.
Was it the Horizon? I never been Horizon.
No, if the ship itself was supposedly had gone to the Event Horizon and had returned, but in going to the Event Horizon, it literally went to like hell, right?
Lewis and Clark.
It was called the Lewis and Clark.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The ship from Event Horizon was called the Event Horizon.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
At least that's what Wikipedia is telling me.
Okay.
No ship made the same. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Well, there was the big space station in the black hole, but then there was the ship that they were piloting when they got there.
Right. Okay.
What was that one called? Because they had two.
Oh. Another ship that I get super excited about when I see it is the Klingon Bird of Prey. What a beautiful ship. And when that thing comes uncloaked, it's, a rumble is about to begin.
Classic design. The silhouette just tells you you're in it now. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so good. Well, and what was the ship called from the cartoon, the Silverhawks?
Oh,
that's another one that when I think about spaceships, the ship from Silverhawks.
Silverhawks was another one of those shows that had a great intro.
It did. Very 80s rock and synth.
The Mirage. Miraj.
Okay. Nice.
Cool. The big old Mirage.
Well, that's And it was really similar to the ship that they had in Thundercats for a little while too, because everybody had a cockpit like at each end of the
Yep.
wing. It was almost like Voltron in that.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was. I mean, it was super popular in that era that there be a very specific team develop or team design, right?
Yeah,
So,
made the kids want to get the ship and all the action
mhm.
figures, right?
Yeah, it was all about selling them toys, right? Go
Yeah.
80s. So I'm going to
And for
admit,
some reason, those of us that grew up with that were buying a whole lot of plastic and painting it right now, like it
right,
worked.
it did. Like they got
They
us.
got it.
Yeah.
Damn, you got me. That's jinx again. Give it up to War Paint Fanatics, our paint
Yeah.
sponsor of TAP
Hmm.
or the Army Painter.
Yeah.
I'm going to put a little black on this. So my scheme is going to be like black and with gold. I'm going to try some of this greedy gold here, some metallic,
Ooh.
um, which when using black or metallic, I feel like that could be a huge mess. So I'm going to have to do it very lightly and then like go back and dry brush or edge highlight things. And then,
Mhm.
so I'm usually doing a bunch of weird colors, blues and purples, and this will be a good exercise of finesse.
So I will admit, I think Jeff was giving me good advice. I mean, I planned on doing a wash over the mech anyways, but I
Yeah.
probably wasn't going to do a dark tone. I was probably
Hmm.
going to do more of a light or a light tone. And I will say, I think it's definitely done a pretty cool job of like making the mech pop out a little bit more.
Let's give
Yeah.
that a solo. Oh yeah, that got right in there.
If you compare the two different mechs, right?
Either you like cotton candy or you like dirty cotton candy, you know? But
I
no,
like dirty.
the one on the
I
left
like,
definitely looks more, you know.
yeah, it's meching out, if you will. All right.
Getting
So
them panels.
yeah, for sure.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So we'll
I
do it
love
for
that
the
paint
other
scheme.
three and then go back and do some details. And I was thinking on the final episode next week of the BattleTech stuff here, doing basing.
Ooh, good
Oh
idea.
yeah, yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah, full show. But you're going to be gone over a few of these events coming up, aren't you? You're doing some other family stuff or
This guy,
vacationy stuff. Yeah, Mark.
the
I
19th. I think I gave you my summer schedule. So the
Yeah,
19th, I'm out, and then Independence the 3rd, right before Independence Day,
yeah,
right? And then I think not until that right before Gen Con, I think we were talking about.
yeah. Okay,
So only, you know, only one really.
that's
I think most people are going to be out that week, but I'm not sure if we're
right.
rerunning. Then yeah, we may take a little small hiatus after Gen Con and be back at it. You know.
Yep, a couple, like maybe a week or two, and then come back. Hopefully we can get some. I want to bring back the interview aspect of the show
Hmm.
next season, because coming off of the Gen Con ride, you're going to get a lot of people wanting to talk about their stuff that they premiered at Gen Con.
Ooh,
And
nice.
so having some guests coming on then would be a lot of fun. And I think we're going to try to get two guests before Gen Con. Um, I'm going to see if Peter wants to come on to talk about things we can expect at Gen Con this year with the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. And
Durgens and Durgens.
Dungeons and
Hmm.
Dragons. And
Is that a fun game?
it's all right. I mean, I think it's probably, I think it's going to actually be around for a while. It might have some
50 years?
legs.
Yeah.
um, it's actually for if you're new to watching Path of the Brush, Dungeons and Dragons is my favorite game. Um, even though there might be something out there that might have some really cool mechanic differences in RPG and everything, but I have so many fond memories growing up around role playing and Dungeons and Dragons that it is and will always be my favorite game.
Do you have a favorite edition?
I would have to say probably second edition was my favorite, only because we really got to immerse into the Forgotten Realms and got to explore the entirety of the realms, not just the Sword Coast, which is awesome. My favorite areas is like the Dale Lands, the Sea of Shining, Sea of Fallen Stars, Cormyr, the Onrock Desert. Those are like my favorite places to explore and run games. Um, but um, they have kind of been shadowed and left behind as of recently in fifth edition, which is fine because we still get to play in Forgotten Realms. But I'm really excited for the next edition, one D&D, because it looks like there's going to be a little bit more emphasis on the world of Greyhawk, which is also a very rich world to explore and be a part of. So, how about you guys? Which edition would you say would have been your favorite?
I'll go first because I'm the newest at playing. I got into it during fifth edition, and
Okay.
so I know it was made to be a little more friendly with fifth edition, and
Hmm.
the couple play groups that I had going. This was just right before COVID,
Hmm.
so it was like 2018, 19. There it was. I mean, Stranger Things kind of like set it off. A lot of people would say,
Hmm.
and got people excited for it. But yeah, I think during that time, not only myself, I had like 3 or 4 play groups that were going, and then I just
Hmm.
a lot of just heard about it, like all happening. So people were very excited about it at that time. So
Nice.
yeah, I mean, I did the Curse of Strahd. We did a couple like
Hmm.
one-off, things as well, and that's a weird one, right? Because it's you technically take yourself out of like the normal fantasy realm into like more of a gothic horror movie realm, and so that one's
Yeah,
a little bit different, right?
that's right.
Um,
The plane of fear.
and then we did the Yawning Portals as kind of our play group B of that
Hmm.
group when people couldn't do it, and that was kind of neat because
Hmm.
it's all the old modules kind of like put into one. And you can tell that some of them feel a little more dated. And you might, Rick, could talk about this a little bit. I think we've talked about it on the show before. Is like you go into the bottom of a well and a giant like shrimp man pops out. With like is he a lobster man? Is he a shrimp? Whatever. But the monsters definitely got like a little scarier as it progressed. It's like the early
Right.
modules were like um, less thought provoking, I guess. So those are always fun. And then the homebrew stuff was always really fun. I think that was kind of and it takes it out of the normal books, but it gives people a way to expand. And we had one
Right.
DM that was really good at mapping things out, and so that was a fun experience. But
Nice.
that's where I was. So I'd have to say 5e just because that's really all I played.
Okay. That's super cool.
Yeah, my experience is a little bit more broad. I think I played the most like tabletop with other people. 3.5. We
Okay.
played the heck out of 3.5.
Hmm.
Um, Fourth edition was just a bridge too far for our DM. But
Okay.
I'm going to be honest. I think the play group and all the time we spent in 3.5 was really the bridge too far for our DM. There was
Okay.
a couple characters like it became a bit adversarial with the DM. He was always trying to
Mm.
he was trying to give us a challenge, and we had that wizard. He just after he got to a certain point, you can't challenge the wizard.
That's correct. 3.5 really had the ability to make characters way more overpowered than maybe they needed to be. But
Yeah,
that was also part of its charm, I thought,
yeah,
because
yeah.
you want to play superheroes, you know.
100%.
But in the I have played because of NetHack, which is a based entirely off of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, which is that second edition. I think, right? Isn't that AD&D? Wouldn't that be second edition, or is that still
Uh,
first?
AD&D was first and second.
First and second.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yep.
that I've put more hours into than it. So I like technically that would be my favorite version.
Okay.
With
Nice.
the most cruel dungeon master you can possibly imagine, the computer.
Oh, the computer.
Yeah.
Nice.
I mentioned it before that like you can die just like walking into the dungeon even.
Nice.
My favorite death was one time my character was starving to death, and I had to open up a can of meat to eat, and I was hallucinating at the time, and I forgot that an invisible black light had exploded, which makes you hallucinate. And the can of meat appeared to be a can of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle meat, and so I ate it. It was actually a cockatrice, and my character turned to stone, and that was it.
Aw.
But
Poor
that's hilarious.
cockatrice. Poor cockatrice. Being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Unfortunate.
A cannery.
Well, it's kind of funny that cockatrice, um, they're not an aggressive species unless you're in their territory, right? They're like any other bird. They just don't want to be bothered, especially if they're in a breeding area. So if you're there, the only reason you should be there in their space is you've probably been hired by a wizard to get something from to harvest something for a spell component that they need, and it's only comes from a cockatrice, or you just took a wrong turn at Albuquerque.
Oh no, cockatrice.
Yeah,
And it's made up of what parts of an animal?
it's basically just a bird with like maybe a little serpentine-esque
Scales.
tail and aspects. Yeah, but it's just a bird.
A slightly, like a serpentine lower half kind of bird, basically.
Yeah,
Dragony bird.
Like a rubber chicken.
Rubber chicken. That's a good explanation. That was one of the things about second edition I really enjoyed is there were these things you would find in like Dragon magazine, and then also they did a few excerpts and like things that they did to print, which was Elminster's ecologies, and what they were basically like everything you'd ever want to know about a certain creature that it would exist in the realms. Like why do dragons act the way they do? Why is a Tarrasque the way it is? And what's their ecology? What is their mating habits? Everything you would find in like um, a boy's life magazine or what was that, Ranger Rick?
Yeah.
The raccoon stuff, or
Ranger Rick.
yeah, and it'd be all these, it'd basically give you all these interesting details about an animal species, like an educational index card, but it would be like a couple pages around like why goblins are the way they are, the ecologies of the bullet, all these things. It was a really cool things to read and give you more base knowledge on a creature, like why do they do the things they do. And I think that's one of the things about that game is it's not a video game, so everything can be enriched well beyond the idea of it is an encounter. You fight the encounter, you move along, maybe get some treasure. You know, you might roll into an area that is a nesting ground for like the boulette, and you're just like, why are we here? Why isn't it attacking us? Oh, it has little bullets that it's raising, and let's leave it a horse because bullets like horse meat, and maybe it'll not hunt us down in its next foray to go find food for its babies.
No, that's so true. I mean, I think a lot of the games, not just D&D, but that source material allows the game to expand, right? Or if you're doing list building for wargaming or different things like that, there's this other half of the hobby's one part of it, right? So you're building and painting and then actually, in D&D building your character. And then war games, you're like building out your armies, and that's like a whole another aspect of it, right? And people, that's like you're always playing in some capacity. You're playing when you're reading about it. You're playing when you're hobbying. You're playing when you're actually on the table. Right?
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's like you're engaged in like that list building is a different kind of creativity, right? It's like a tactical creativity, not
Oh,
necessarily
absolutely.
like putting the right colors together, but putting the right numbers together.
And yeah,
Right.
selecting your character, or are you doing like first time playing D&D and like a pre-gen character, and then after a while you go, well, maybe I want this archetype, and maybe I want this type of spellcaster, or maybe is a sorcerer versus a wizard versus just to see what they can do. What feat am I going to take? Those type of things, like round out a party, not just character but a party as well. Like we might have been able to be more successful if I took a different feat.
So when it comes to that kind of stuff, as a player or a DM, um, I usually tell players, don't worry about what anybody else is going to do or take. This is your character, and we'll figure out a way to incorporate different things in the story because we're there to have fun together and build a story around it. And so, if someone wants to make a character that is not necessarily a combat heavy one and going into dungeons, but finds themselves more inclined to be
Mhm.
communicating and kind of like a city character, right? Because there's definitely a difference between a dungeon delver and a political intrigue character,
Oh
right?
yeah,
But
and
sometimes
people.
that political intrigue character might find themselves dungeon delving. And when they're dungeon delving, they have to figure out some different things about themselves and how to incorporate their skill sets that they've used on the surface to survive the realms below. And I think that's a really fun part of role playing and character building. And
Background stories. Some people don't even want to get into the combat portion of it.
yeah,
Will and I obviously lean more towards that combat portion because of the wargaming stuff we do. Um, but it is a nice break to just be able to do the role playing and
hmm,
not even worry about that. And you're just kind of chatting and joking around with your friends, and or
yeah,
being serious about the fantasy knowledge that you know.
for sure.
And to like, here's an admission here. Anytime I do get together with anybody really to do a war game, and
Hmm.
like I'll chit chat and we'll have fun with the guys, but then I will build on the ongoing narrative for that army. Like if they got
Hmm.
a story, why were they there fighting those guys? It's in my head. Like it's
Yeah.
so the story's being built, and it gets told by the dice, which makes it more interesting.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like the same way. I know we were talking about conquest earlier, and like I play the Wadroon, which are the orcs, or I hope to play the Wadroon. Um, and the thing about them is they chant when they go into battle. Is that right, Will? They
That's
kind of like
correct.
they're kind of like musically inclined, and I want to come up with like some cool chants that I
Hmm.
when I'm moving a unit across the board, pushing that plastic towards the other plastic, I want to chant something out and just kind of that speaks to why they're in battle against this particular force. Why are we fighting people? This unit from the Hundred Kingdoms, or the Dwagar, or the Nords, and they have a chance for why they're going into that combat scenario. And also, I want it to be play and mimicking off of some modern music
Hmm.
so that my opponents get distracted by the weirdness.
Well, that's great. So, Rick, you were out saying where are your cards at, and I left my cards 2 games in a row.
Two games in a row.
And so I'll open these up and just show the people if you haven't played Conquest. It comes with these great cards that signify this is an Ugger, which is basically kind of an ogre style
Hmm.
guy, and you pre-stack your cards, and they go in kind of blind each round, and then you flop down which unit would go. So I lost those, and so I ended up having to cut up some index cards. Luckily, Rick has some. Sorry, I stole all your paint index cards.
Oh
But
no! Oh
yeah,
no!
and so I wrote them on there, and then the House Carls would be like this little guy who had an injury. I broke his arm off dropping him. I got to glue that on. But they're called House Carls. But I call them Husky Boys on the card. And now whenever I uh, you know, going to talk about them again, I'm always going to call them the Husky Boys. So
Yeah, that's
kind of
fun.
cool.
Yeah,
I'm
you
I'm
put a little
spreading that
story on it.
around. When I was playing Charlie, he had a bunch of Husky boys out there, and I was like, "Oh, are they here to solve a mystery?"
Yeah,
the Husky boys are back.
The Husky boys are back, boy. That's
Oh,
awesome.
man.
And that's how I like when it comes to like BattleTech here. I don't want to just build, a squad of mechs because they're the most powerful squad. I want to build a squad of mechs that have a story, that are, that there's a narrative basis to it. And the good thing about BattleTech is they also have Mech Warrior, which is their RPG, or tabletop RPG system, that you can play to get that, that itch scratched if you want to do some sort of narrative piece to the BattleTech world. So,
Well, that's fun.
yeah.
All right, you can see some of the gold coming on this guy here. So I darkened a few like joints, where the joints made those like a little bit darker on the arms as well. And
Nice.
doing some gold. And as I'm kind of doing it, kind of almost, if I added full on yellow to this thing, it's starting to look like Bumblebee. That's not the intent.
Sick.
But yeah, be kind of cool. Maybe some on the inner grill of the front there, on outlined in gold, gunmetal or something like that. But it's fun once you start getting a couple layers of paint on it. How much you're like, oh man, this would be fun to put on the table.
Oh, absolutely. And what we can do is on the first Sunday of the month. So in July, if we're around, Bill, who was the individual that came out and did the BattleTech Alpha Strike demos here at the store, we could bring these mechs and we could do an Alpha Strike demo and play them.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
I stopped in and saw Bill. Say hello to you as well. And on Sunday, right? And then it looked really cool, very engaging. They were playing the smaller. This was on like a 4x4 table, and the terrain looked really neat.
For sure.
It's almost like the theme of the season, the paint to play thing.
Yep. It's been fun for sure.
Yeah.
And we want to know, like, for everybody watching, what have you been painting and what have you been playing in this season that you may have hung out with us, and what are you looking forward to putting to the table? We got 4th edition Age of Sigmar coming out really soon. Is that something that you're playing? Shatterpoint, BattleTech, Song of Ice and Fire, Drop Fleet. We've gotten some people playing Drop Fleet here, and I don't think I will play it, but I wouldn't mind painting it. Those ships are really cool. So to put those ships on camera and paint them and stuff, I think it'd be a lot of fun. Because I used to play some ships. Yeah, I used to play a really the Babylon 5 spaceship game back in I think it was like early 90s or late 1990s. So it was the late 1900s.
You're driving horse and buggy back then, right?
Well, probably.
Back in the 20th century.
Yeah, I don't remember because, I was so old.
Oh, I love it.
But it was fun. I enjoyed it. The ships are cool. And I think that's one of the fun things about the hobby too, is even if you don't want to play the game, you might find a reason to want to paint the miniatures to it. And there's so many great miniatures out there. Like another one that I really enjoy is the miniatures from Monster Apocalypse, which was a Reaper game, not Reaper, Privateer Press, and they had some amazing models for that game. So those are super fun to paint. And
is that a kaiju game?
It is. Kaijus and robots.
Oh,
yeah, fighting in a city and climbing buildings and jumping off buildings on top of each other, and so stuff like that, which is super fun. There's also, but I don't know who has it now, because I don't know if you all saw the news. Privateer Press recently just sold their IP around Iron Kingdoms and um, um, what is the other one that they do? The Iron Kingdoms based off War Machine
Oh,
to
really?
Steam Forge Games.
Oh,
So,
interesting. That's gonna
hmm
breathe some real new life into it because it's been in flux is the nice way to say it, right?
yeah, it's been a little in flux, and I feel like there might be the potential for some revitalization of the IP. And
Yeah.
Steamforge Games does some really good models, and they have the potential of bringing it to life back on the table. And um, something to look forward to. See how it plays out.
Wasn't that their flagship for a long time?
War
Private Secret
Machine,
Press?
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, War Machine and Hordes. Yeah,
Yeah, Warma Hordes.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
only I've only got to play it a few times. My one good buddy that actually got me into painting was huge
Yeah.
into it. He had like 10 different armies, and he had the original like metal, like kind of mechs,
Hmm.
like steam mechs, right?
Right.
And he built the super elaborate 4 foot by 8 foot like foam table, but did like it's completely sculpted. He had like little chain, like
What?
across the way, and built like a whole like cafe that had because they had like gator armies and stuff like that had like billboards with gators on them,
Jesus.
and like I have to have him unearth that so we could show it because it's pretty cool. Um, but yeah, it was fun. It was definitely difficult to learn, and it was very rules heavy at the time.
Right.
And you're rolling like 19 to make 32 to make, you know what I mean? So it was like
Hmm.
the creep on it was pretty drastic. So you're doing a lot of quick math, and as Will knows, that's my downfall.
Okay. All right. Anybody watching? Have you played any of those games, and which one's your favorite? We would like to know.
Yeah.
Or what are your thoughts on Steamforge picking up the IP? And if you were to speculate what they might do with it, what is your speculation?
Or if you have any fun tabletop moments to share, even
Yeah,
over
for
others.
sure. Yeah, we do enjoy a good story around the table. It is super fun. And we actually have in the store right now, we have some people playing Shatterpoint. And I don't know I think, I don't know what the other group is doing. It looks like they're just standing around looking at each other.
Just
Um,
talking.
yeah, which is fine. All right. This,
I think.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, I think in the last episode you mentioned the battle pods for BattleTech. I don't think we got a chance to like dive into that at all. Did you ever get a chance to play around in those?
I did. Oddly, I think when they first came out, it was early 90s, right? And I was stationed in Great Lakes, Illinois, and a bunch of us would go down to the Navy Pier off at the end of Michigan Avenue in downtown Chicago, because that's where the pods were. They were in this, like, you would almost call it like an arcade, but it was just dedicated to the BattleTech pods, and it was super cool.
That was a dream. I always hoped I could get there as a kid.
Hmm.
When a local store actually got one of the pods here many years after the fact, that I was over the
Nice.
moon to try it out. It's and as a professional nerd now, like doing computer stuff forever, looking
Hmm.
back at those things, like that was before TCP/IP. That was they invented their own networking protocol so that that could happen. It just boggles my mind.
You just said stuff I didn't understand. TCP/IP, C++, and DOS. I can talk tech too.
Those are acronyms.
They did have
Triples.
them at Adepticon, right?
They did.
Yeah.
I did not get a chance to play it. There was like a small window of, go to the bathroom before the game starts or jump in that. And so I thought,
Right.
better to do the first.
If anybody out there does find the pods and you want to be able to body your friends, I have a little bit of advice.
Okay.
Usually the event hosts set those things up so you don't have to deal with heat. Heat is a big deal in BattleTech, so
Hmm.
you don't want to overheat. But usually they turn that off because then you have infinite gun, infinite fun. This little guy right here, this one is called the Black Hawk. It's a beautiful little Mac. It's a medium. It's fast. It can jump, and it has 12 medium lasers. And it can fire all of them simultaneously. And it normally, if you fired them all simultaneously, you would overload your reactor and explode and die. But no, that little guy, faster than most people can catch and packing more firepower than is reasonably expected in a tiny little body. Amazing.
Nice. That's amazing. I always felt like the faster the mech, the better the wreck, you know?
Yeah, when I was a kid, like going through all the BattleTech technical manuals, I always thought like the assault mechs were they're 100 tons. They're obviously the best. And that's
okay.
Yeah, the fast ones get behind those guys and shoot them in the back and they die.
So good. So good.
Yeah, that was a rough lesson to learn. But he's 100 tons.
Yep. And his movement is snail.
Yeah. He's a building.
That's so a good one. Yeah. Old BattleTech.
And that would be this guy, the Daishi, which is actually the Timberwolf. It's changed names since then. But that's the 100-ton monster that I loved as a child.
Nice.
And I still love it because it looks like Ed 209.
It does look a bit like Ed.
Ed 209. I can dig it.
It was a huge sneeze. I thought I muted myself. Did not. And if you catch a sneeze, you win a prize.
Ooh, I sneezed hard today, just a minute ago. That was rough. There must be something in the area that I'm allergic to.
Was that around lunchtime? Because holy crap, my wife and I both we were fighting sneezes through lunch. Like what happened in Michigan?
There's so much dogwood. Is it dogwood that's flying around?
I don't know. All I know is it's gross.
The snow that's flying around right
now. Right. I saw your wife. I think it was yesterday.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, she's excited to bring some friends out there to the store. They're very excited because their kids are just getting into D&D.
Nice. And guess what? They were at the coffee shop when I saw them. I came in and opened the store, and they did not come in.
Yeah, she wanted to apologize for that.
I was super sad.
They ran out of time.
But I wasn't gonna cry or anything.
I'll tell her that you did.
For those just tuning in, Rick's very emotional, so it's a believable story.
Oh man, there was a couple scenes last night on the Star Wars show. I'm a big baby when it comes to Star Wars. When I get really overly emotional about what they're represent or what they're showing off and everything, I can get a little teary eyed. I'm not ashamed to say it. I love my things that I love, my fandoms, and I get super geeked out when I get to enjoy those things. And regardless of whether it's a cinematic masterpiece or not, I just love it. Like when the D&D movie Honor Among Thieves came out, there was so much about that show that I was just like, this is everything I wanted. This is so great. I was super entertained, and the little Easter eggs they threw in there were awesome. And I got a little, emotional about it because I'm a big baby.
Hey, we can be now, right?
Well, I think at this age, I think it's kind of like the Vulcan time where you don't show emotion for years, and then all of a sudden it all just kind of comes out.
Oh, I found it all. I found it all in this big pile, and the pile is on top of me.
That's right.
Emotions are cool.
Yeah, I saw that there is that documentary about Jim Henson.
Yeah,
and I started it, and as I press play, I'm like, I guess I'm gonna cry.
Right.
And I've had Rainbow Connection stuck in my head on repeat ever since, which is like that'll help. They'll get you there.
Yeah, it'll get you there. That's crazy. Yeah, there's certain shows I don't know if I could actually watch just because I know that I'll be an emotional wreck. And I know that this is really good content. You guys are like going, "Oh, I like to hear about grown men getting emotionally upset." Um,
We
Give
just
me
got
more of
killed.
that.
Watch out for the hook.
right? But it is what it is, and it's a testament to the things that we enjoy that you know we can get a little like vulnerable, if you will, about it. So I think it's just fine. It's fine.
Oh yeah, it's fine. Everything's fine.
You're watching the softer side of Path of the Brush.
That's right. In this hour, we're going to talk about did we could literally do a segment on this where we just show clips from different movies and have
Hold back the tears.
and just have the audience be like, did Rick cry during this scene? And be like, you know, Mufasa's death. Yes, of
Oh, that's a tough one.
course.
That's a tough one. That's a tough
Right.
one.
And they people could even submit their suggestions. Ooh, I bet you he cried during this scene. He's a big baby. And I'd be like, no, I didn't. And then I'll be like, that's a lie.
Force you to watch it again, right?
Right.
I don't want to watch it again. It hurt.
That's right. It hurt my emotional side. So,
Not to get off our emotional topic, I am getting
all
kind
right.
of emotional here with the gold that's happening,
Ooh.
which is turning out good. But all this gold trim lining, I'm starting to like. I bring this guy up all the time, but like my 4 hours of heck, like doing all the gold little bits on this guy, all precise. Now having flashbacks of why I haven't touched gold in like 6 months.
Nice.
But it's fun. Like,
Yeah.
just put it on sparingly, let it sparkle. We'll take
Yeah.
Jeff's advice and we'll put a little dark tone on there. You do
For
strong
sure.
tone or dark tone?
I did dark tone.
I like to put flesh wash on gold because it's
Ooh.
not that strong. It doesn't dull it down
Right.
that much. That's
Right.
usually what I'd use.
Nice.
I like that.
Heck yeah.
Now we're back to being a painting show. Can you believe it?
Oh, thank gosh.
Why'd you do that, guys? Why'd you bring it back full circle? It's almost like you're afraid that it's about to get apocalyptic in this joint.
Oh man, like what happened in '94.
Yeah.
Can't forget that.
You really can't. I think we should all, do a moment of silence, just to give thanks to all of those who perished in the tragic incident of 1994. And as a reminder, for those of you that can't recall, but in 1994, in an alternate timeline, a runaway planet collided between the Earth and the Moon, unleashing cosmic destruction. Man's civilization was cast in ruins. It was horrible. But on the alternate timeline, 2,000 years later, it will be reborn, a strange new world, a world of science, savagery, and super sorcery, or super science, sorcery, and savagery. All those three things. Maybe not in that order. And one man will burst his bonds to fight for freedom and justice with his companions, Ukla the Mock, cat person, and Princess Ariel, main character. And together with his courage and strength and fabulous sun sword, he's Thundar the Barbarian. I mean, thank Thundar for the glorious future that will exist in that alternate timeline. There he is.
Did it again.
Did it again.
So good. Yep, it was Thundar o'clock. So
It is
Yeah.
Thunder Clock. Wow. Time flies when you're having fun and crying
it
about
does.
I was starting to get a little misty for Thundar.
Oh,
Burst his
absolutely.
bonds, guys.
I'm just waiting for you to crack and like, I can't remember this part. I can't remember. And you haven't done it yet. You have not cracked.
I mean, I do mix a few things up, like the strange new world of science, sorcery or savagery, sorcery, and super science. That one does get me stumped sometimes.
Stumps you a little.
I think by now we can cover for you.
Yeah, for sure.
We better be able to. We haven't been paying attention to Thundar otherwise.
Well, the thing about Thunder that would get me emotional, because I think we should get back on that emotional train, is that there's not enough content right now around him. There's no role playing games. There's no board games. There's no video games, and he is, I think, primed and ready to be brought back into the spotlight. Right? We want to see more Thundar, and Warner Brothers, if you are listening, get to it.
Yeah, your boy's ready for a comeback.
He is. I'd like to see a live action Thundar just and make it like super like jokey and be like, because obviously in the cartoon, Ariel is the smart one. Thundar is kind of a buffoon, really, who just charges in head first, just like Ukla does, which makes them the perfect team. And the fact that he has like these weird like catchphrases like demon dogs and lords of light. It's like, was he already like worshiping the Lord of Light from Game of Thrones? Is this like a precursor to Game of Thrones? I don't know.
Have you seen something? What was it on? I think I found it on Facebook. It's called Abandoned Films. Have you seen this? It's like AI generated films of the 50s.
No.
They basically like look it up. It's called Abandoned Films, and I don't know. They say they use AI and Photoshop, and somehow I don't know what prompts they're putting in, but it pops out these like stills that are amazing. But then they actually are kind of like movie and like animated like little movie pieces, and everybody looks like actors from the 50s. And
Okay.
they did like an Aliens one. They did like
Mm.
they're really cool. They did a
Okay.
Metroid one.
What?
There's just all these. I don't know like who's doing them or how it's actually getting popped out, but they're kind of neat. They're very like thematic.
Well, I would have to say I would skip those because I'm not a fan of AI generated content right now.
Generally,
I
am I? But it's definitely worth a look.
sure. I think, you know, for all the raising and rage that's out there about it is, you know, when the tractor was invented, farmers were upset, but now it's made their lives better. We just got to figure out how to make AI really work for us, and um, or uh, shut it down. Just shut it down. But I don't think that's going to be the case, and we need to figure it out. But
The genie's out of the bottle. Like,
yeah,
to me, it's kind of like the laser or the LED. They don't know how to apply it, so they're applying it to everything, and then the stuff that it's good at, it'll settle.
right, for sure.
I'm really glad that you brought up AI art though, because I wanted to share with you guys. There is a AI art program that I played around with earlier today, and I had it generate the next big hit in 80s fashion. And I
Ooh,
thought I'd show you guys this picture that it got.
big hit in '80s fashion.
Yeah,
That's
so
crazy. Does that even exist?
no,
Is it?
I mean, you kind of look at her hands and you know that there are problems.
Oh yeah, the
Yes,
teeth too. You know.
Yeah,
that's funny.
the three parts
Three
to
fingers.
the bibs. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the hard hat, that's also a necklace somehow. Yeah, everything
Mm.
about it just it brings me a strange kind of joy.
What I'm getting out of this is the one thing they got right, and I think it's super funny, is the colors. They were so vibrant and bright back then.
Yes.
It was almost blindingly so. So
Yeah, definitely. You know, I feel like it has a use case, but
mhm.
as far as I'm a graphic artist by trade, and yeah, no, it's kind of can be a scary thing. So I think there are ways to augment and. But if
Right.
you're coining it as an original piece of art, I think that's where you got to really draw that line. And the one thing about
Yeah.
those abandoned films is they're kind of spoofs on them, and they do say right there that they were generated. They're not trying to pass one over, which that's
Right.
where I think that it's taken
Mhm.
into the bad place, if you will. You know?
Yeah.
Sure. I feel like there's also, like what you just did, showing us just something you did for fun. Just, obviously we're not going to sell anything along those lines, but if you're just doing something for fun, just to see what it can generate, that's kind of funny,
Yeah.
for entertainment purposes in that regard. Um, but there's a
I know, like,
lot of controversy going on in that space, and it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out over the next few years.
I do like the stance that the comic book companies are taking. You know, that are like shutting it down, and people are losing their jobs if they're found to use it. You know,
Sure.
so I think that's the right way to preserve the artist and that industry as we know it and love it.
Yeah, it's just like currently just a giant plagiarism generator. Unless you know what the black box is, it's stealing from everybody.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. I know that when it was becoming popularized to use AI generated art to create portraits of yourself for like your social media stuff, I still use one that I thought was really fun. And
Hypocrite.
no,
What?
no,
I'm
I'm
just
not.
kidding.
I'm not selling it. It's just a picture of myself, and I thought it was super funny because it makes me look like the a little bit like what's his name from 300, played Leonidas.
Oh, with the beard and everything, chiseled.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. What's his name? Gerard Butler.
Yes.
But the one I have makes me look like Gerard Butler, the Norton's fisherman guy.
So you get a
And
yellow slicker.
no, I don't know why it gives me this like, lobsters or world's most dangerous catch kind of vibe. And I thought it was funny, and I love it.
That's great.
Yeah.
I know what you did last summer.
Yes.
Remember those old '90s movies?
They were the best.
'90s movies, early 2000s. Like late
Mhm.
'90s, like the Screams and the I know what you did last summer, and that like string of group teen horror movies, which I guess
Mhm.
is a resurgence of some of the '80s stuff. But
Right.
The Fog, coming back. That was what, the Stephen King flick originally, or story? Is that correct?
I believe it was, and what it was interesting about the remake is it had Tom Welling in it, who played Clark in Smallville.
Oh, okay. I believe he's from kind of Lansing area too, isn't he? From originally
He's from
Okemos, I think.
Okemos. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's from Okemos. It's kind of interesting when you think about individuals who are from or have a connection to Michigan or Lansing. You've got Sam Raimi,
Hmm.
the director. You've got Bruce Campbell, who went to school with Sam Raimi, hence why he's in every one of Sam Raimi's movies. You've got Tom Welling. You've got uh, what's her name? She's married to Dax Shepard, who also is from Michigan. Uh,
In a
Kirsten
good
Bell.
way.
Kirsten Bell, and
And
they like playing Catan, or they've kind of like voiced that and did
yeah,
like
they got that podcast as well.
yeah, yeah. And then of course there's also Matthew Lillard, who has a connection to Lansing.
Speaking of Scream, yeah.
Yep, and Magic Johnson, right? So
Is Matthew Lillard the guy who played Shaggy?
he
Yeah.
is, yeah, and
Yeah, yeah.
he's also one of the owners of Beetle and Grimm's, and does a lot of live streaming around Dungeons and Dragons. He's a huge fan of the game.
And a
So
stand-up dude, from what I've heard.
I've heard that too, even though he picked on me at a Gamehole Con one year, and I'll never forgive him.
Oh,
No, he didn't pick on me. I was there. He was there. We chatted for a hot minute, and he asked me if I was going to play any Dungeons and Dragons while I was there, and I was working the show, so I was busy like doing TikToks for Gamehole Con and doing a bunch of other video content around for some of the other publishers that were there. And I told him I will be working, and he kind of is like, "You need to play more D&D. You need to play a game while you're here." I was like, "Dang it, he's not wrong." So,
Shaggy.
yeah,
Lansing also had Stevie Wonder. He went to school at the School for the Blind, which is across the street from where I grew up.
nice. And Steven Seagal is got a Lansing connection as well,
And Magic Johnson.
and Magic Johnson. Yeah, it's crazy. Uh, for those of you watching, do you have any like odd connections from where you're at and growing up and everything to any celebrity types that might have a? They don't necessarily have to have a tabletop or gaming connection, but you know, if they do, that makes it even more fun. So let us know in the comments because we want to know.
I have a sort of related story. That's one of my favorites for my little sister. The one time right when Bubba Hotep came out, Bruce Campbell came to MSU to do a showing, and he shared it with
maybe.
And I went there, and my sister and a bunch of my friends, we all went there. And while we were there, when my sister got up to ask Bruce Campbell a question, she flirted with him, and he flirted back. So whenever she's feeling down about herself, I can always say that Bruce Campbell flirted with you.
That is
right.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. I can appreciate that.
It's nice to have that one in my back pocket. If she's ever feeling down.
That's a good one. That's a good one for sure. All right, I'm gonna do a little dry brushing over some of this just to get another little pop of that pastel back, but not to like make it super sharp.
Did you say high brushing?
Dry brushing.
Dry brushing. Okay, I misheard you.
Good God, this is War Paint Fanatics plate mail metal, and it looks just like it sounds.
Yeah, it's bright. It's super shiny. That's it. I think that's what I was using too. Yeah, plate mail metal for all the like barrels and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to do the inside of the grills and see how that shakes out.
Sweet.
Sweet, bro.
Sweet, brother. What's up, brother? Yeah, I'm digging it. I'm pretty excited for Gen Con this year too. I don't know if you guys are or.
I'm so excited! I'm wearing the T-shirt.
What? I didn't even notice. Oh, there it is.
There it is. Remember that I showed you the flag the other day that I got? Yeah. This is actually 2023. The Roller Crit's got a discount going on for some stuff. So if you weren't able to pick it up while you were there last year, you should do so. They got I think some stock left and good prices. And yeah, this was a cool shirt. Kind of has a rock and roll vibe, and it's got the tour dates on the back.
That's super cool.
I'm also geeked because I can make it this year.
Heck
We're wife and I are making plans for it and all that. I don't know if it's just going to be me or what, but I am excited.
Heck yeah.
Nice. We'll have to coordinate.
Yes, sir.
And color coordinate.
Sometime we'll have to talk sometime.
Yeah, let's talk.
Sometime. I feel like next month, July, we need to get together and get some T-shirts made. For while we're walking around at our like Path of the Brush T-shirts, maybe some Hoplite Games shirts.
Oh dang!
Make up a Tabletop Guru shirt.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Fun. Oh, that'd be good. That will be good. All right, I'm getting his claws all silver dangled down there. I see him coming together. Well, he looks good real close up. No, I didn't do that sooner.
Oh, nice.
What was that?
He looks good.
What was that?
Yeah, did we ever figure out what kind of mech that is?
It's a kick butt mech. That's what that
is. It's a clan ad hoc.
Oh, clan ad hoc.
Let me see.
What was the mech called?
Let me bust out the card. And the great thing about having one of these little, starter boxes, if you will, reinforcements box, I believe they're called. Thanks to Catalyst Games Lab here.
Whoop, whoop.
That is, wait for it, waiting for it still waiting for it. He's a Kodiak. He's like a bear.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, dang.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. The Kodiak. I can dig it.
These are nice cards too. They're like
Yeah.
laminated
Yep.
already. I mean, you definitely should probably sleeve them if you're playing them, and I think you should anyways because of the little head erase, dry erase you should do on them. But definitely durable.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, for show.
Oh, faux show.
I kind of want to find an old Sweet Pickles bus and keep them all in there.
Sweet Pickles bus.
What was a Sweet Pickles bus?
It's a bit of a deep cut. Like back in the day, there was like a learning, like flashcards for kids, but they were all in this one big plastic box that was decorated like a bus. It was called the Sweet Pickles bus.
Oh,
Nice.
that does sound like Sweet Pickles. I'm more of a dill pickle guy myself. Sweet pickles are just not my thing. What about you guys? You got to pick
Sweet pickles
pickle.
are gross.
Sweet pickles are gross.
I only like them when they're like those little baby pickles, and you're only going to eat them without anything else.
Oh,
And
that's fair.
you know, and maybe like 2 or 3. That's it.
All right, I'll go with that. It's it's usually someone ate all the olives. There's a couple of sweet pickles left on the the tray.
Yeah, exactly.
When you bite into them expecting a dill pickle, you feel like you've been betrayed.
Oh, you have been betrayed.
Yeah,
I especially like the dill sandwich chips pickled that are for like for hamburgers and stuff.
Oh yeah,
those things are so good.
yeah, you definitely need pickles on the hamburgers. I like how we transitioned to food. Who did not eat enough today? I didn't. I didn't. I'm definitely starved.
I'm getting some dinner right after this.
Oh man,
gonna figure it out, but there will be some food in my near future, and I don't know. I would really like chicken fajitas, but I don't know.
I wish you had a place that was like close by the shop that would like oblige something like that. You know?
Yeah, but they're probably gonna be closed by the time I'm done.
No, what day is it? Wednesday.
It is Wednesday. It is Wednesday.
Did you just gain a day? No, you lost a day.
Mm-hmm. That happens.
Oh, that's great. Not for you, but that's funny.
Every once in a while, days just kind of slip away.
Yeah.
With school being out this week, like tomorrow's their last day. We keep thinking it's Friday, but no, that's a betrayal too.
It is a betrayal. I'll be actually speaking of school getting out. My youngest son is graduating high school.
Oh wow!
This is his last week of school, but his graduation event isn't until next Friday, the 14th. So I'll be going down to Chesapeake, Virginia Beach area for his graduation, and he actually also might be coming to Gen Con with us. So we'll see. Yeah. So we'll see.
You need any help watching the store on that Friday? I'm sure you got it covered already.
It's already covered, but if you want to come in and, be the bouncer, you're more than welcome.
Because I'm so intimidating.
The fact that you're self-aware is pretty awesome.
A snort?
What?
Was that a snort?
A little snort, yes. I am the West.
It snorted again. That's funny. Hilarious.
Oh, man. Putting little bits of red on here is kind of interesting.
Making stuff pop out?
A little bit. I'm trying to find spots where there might be, like a red light or something that would be a little pop out. Then I'm going to go over a couple other spots with some yellow to be the contrasting light, right? Red means dead. Yellow means close to dead.
Mellow
yellow.
I am loving these, like compared to the last time I painted these things. They've got
Mhm.
so much light. Well, and they're not metal. And that's nice too.
Right.
And I didn't know to prime them when I was a child, so that the paint lands better.
Oh, that, and we're not using testers.
Yeah, I didn't know about paint thinner. Like you needed to use that with testers back then either. So
For sure.
those brushes were a mess.
They were gross. All right. And now I'm going to go through some yellows and give them some yellows on what could be considered maybe some lights as well. I'm going to use this ice yellow. I don't know why,
Ice
but
yellow?
yeah, I feel like ice yellow is something that would be part of the transporter.
You don't lick the yellow ice. You don't.
That's right. You don't lick the yellow ice. Hashtag I'm a beekeeper. Have you seen that movie yet?
The transporter?
Nope, The Beekeeper.
The Beekeeper? No, I have
It's
not.
got the same actor.
Is Jason Statham?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to. I love Jason Statham.
It's pretty good, actually. It's a Jason Statham's version of like The Bourne Identity.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Does he start off as a humble beekeeper and then he gets pulled back in, triggered by a bee sting?
Does he get stung by a radioactive bee and inherit the powers of a bee?
Also, yes.
Awesome. His greatest defense is to stab somebody with a sword that's tied to his intestine and let it just
and it rips his guts out.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if that? Oh, could you imagine that being a cursed weapon? A cursed weapon in D&D. The beekeeper's sting, and it literally bonds to you. But when you stab somebody with it, it does that. It basically rips your guts out. That would suck.
It better hit like a truck.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy. Kind of crazy D&D game with this.
Well, what I would do with it is I would use it like if you had this weapon, the beekeeper's sting, right, and you stab someone with it, it would like sink into them. It wouldn't rip your guts out like a bee sting does, or a stinger does when it gets done. But what it would do is it would transfer all your remaining hit points as damage to the creature you just stabbed. Right, so you are dying or go into death saving throws, but you're basically sacrificing your life force to cause damage to the enemy. I think that would be kind of cool, especially if you're a barbarian and you have like 60 plus hit points, and your party's getting beat the crap out of. So you pull out this, I'd almost say like a dagger or a dirk or something, maybe a little longer, and you stab someone and that happens. That would be sick. Cursed, but sick.
Cursed.
If you want to go deep with it, 3% of the population has an allergy to bee stings, so have a 3% chance to instantly kill.
Ooh, snap. That is a deep one.
A lot of deep cuts going here.
Yeah, tonight's been an episode of deep cuts, and also revelations on emotional status of our staff here, our hosts, and you guys.
It's good to still have feelings.
Oh, I still have a soul. Thank goodness. I was hoping.
Ridiculous.
And I think we went down. Star Wars brought that up, right? Because of the new Acolyte movie. If you're just show that came out, you're just tuning in. I just watched the first episode of that. Rick, you watched both, yeah?
Yep, I did.
Back to back.
Back to back.
And they come out every Tuesday?
Every Tuesday there will be 8 total episodes. So yeah, it'll be fun. I think we're gonna do it every Tuesday as a view and paint party, or just a viewing party with a bunch of our community members that come in and hang out.
While playing Star Wars?
Yeah. So we'll watch the show and then have speculative conversation afterwards.
Ooh, fun.
Yeah. It was super fun last night because there was a lot of questions were answered, but a lot of new questions were asked. So
I don't think this question would reach into spoiler territory, but does this take place in the Old Republic?
it takes place 100 years before Phantom Menace, basically.
Okay, long time before the Old.
Yeah, but
Is it before Phantom Menace? It says before the rise, of the Empire, right?
the rise of the Empire and the fall of the Republic. So it should be about 100 years before.
Before, or would you say once Anakin starts to turn? I guess the Republic fell right in the third one. So how old would he be at that age? 20, maybe 18.
Probably in his 20s, I think. Yeah.
I was thinking it would be like 100 years when he was in his 20s, but
Yeah.
Phantom Menace. I mean, that's when things are happening, right?
Yeah, but I would say, regardless of all the math that we're trying to throw in here, Yoda's still alive, or Yoda's alive, and probably at that point 700, 600 plus years old, because he's 800 years old when he dies in um or becomes one with the Force in Empire Strikes Back, or
Spoilers.
or Return of the Jedi. Sorry, Return of the Jedi. When 800 years old you be, look as good you will not. You know. So if you think about that, it's 100 and maybe 150 years before that. So he's only 650, 750, or 700 years old. So he's already an old guy, but maybe a little more, able to fight a little better.
He's gotten past his midlife crisis. He already sold the
Mhm.
convertible. Right.
Yeah, for sure. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Is that what I get
Because,
to look forward to? Is convertibles?
oh yeah, or was it Corvettes? Carillion Corvettes.
Amazing.
Oh, we should shout out our sponsors
Oh
about
yeah,
that time.
Oh yeah, it's 8:30.
is indeed.
All right, so we'd like to give a big shout out to the Army Painter and the War Paints Fanatic line, also their Speed Paints 2.0. But big thank you to the Army Painter. If you would be so kind, for those of you watching, if you haven't yet, go give them a follow on YouTube or Instagram or even Facebook, whichever platform of social media platform that is your preferred. They're on it. Give them a follow. Tell them that we here at Path of the Brush sent you. Also, a big shout out to Game Envy, who makes a lot of our brushes that we're using. The the Phalanx brushes, these like bluish gray brushes, and they also make the fun pop-up cup that we use for our water. It's kind of cool too because it has these little like ridges around it that you can put your brush right there when you're not using it, so you don't leave it in the water. And because it doesn't look like your normal cup, you're not going to drink the water, just like Will almost did just now. Also, big shout out to Tabletop Gurus and to Hoplite Games here in Lansing, where we're broadcasting from, and also to Gen Con TV. If you haven't yet, hit that heart and that bell here on Twitch so you don't miss out on any of the notifications or alerts when one of the different creators and content providers here goes live. We want you to be able to enjoy all the wonderful programs available here on Gen Con TV, and a lot more are being added right now as we're rolling into the Gen Con fever, right? So you've got some new live plays going on. You've got Peter versus the Machine. You've got Indie by Night, Actor Roki, Blood on the Clock Tower, Roll with Rem Alternus, and Table Takes, plus a bunch of other cool programs going on. And you can find out more about those at Gen Con Facebook page, Instagram, and all the other social media platforms. So go give them a follow wherever you can find Gen Con. And so you don't, again, miss out, or maybe you'll find the next big thing you're really going to be passionate about in content consumption. Kind of like why you're here watching us paint miniatures and talk about maple syrup, Netflix, and Thundar.
Is that what the show's about? I love it.
Well, yeah, sort of. We're just here to ensure that this time, every time during your week, you can take a break from life and paint miniatures with us, and it gives you the opportunity to get through that pile of gray that you've had stacking up all this time, uh, and listen to our wonderful voices.
Yeah, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, if
sweet.
you look around and you got some, look around and grab some gray. That sounds weird,
That's
but
right.
Yeah.
I had some gray I pulled up real quick, some
Yeah.
bone chosen that I have to get after, and you're just getting on this big old dino. You got any gray over there?
I don't have any in arm's reach.
Yeah, Will, you got any gray?
I think I've primed it all. So
Wow.
I got it. I've got a lot of prime stuff that needs to be painted.
Very disciplined, Will.
Yep. Whereas I have a bunch of gray I can see on the shelves here at the store, back here in the game arena, where I'm like going crepes. I need to get on board and put some more models together and paint more stuff. So I kind of think that we're going to have to return to the realm of Dungeons and Dragons miniature painting in the next. So after next week, when we do basing for the BattleTech miniatures, we move into some D&D miniatures as a lead into um, the
Yeah.
Gen Con array of craziness, because it's going to be crazy. So yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
good
so
idea.
yeah, so that was our big shout out to all of our sponsors, and to ensure that you all are following. Actually, for if you're watching and you're on Twitch right now, if you scroll down past the schedule, past the convention info to connect, there's all that little information down there. You can literally find a link to the different platforms in which you can engage with Gen Con TV and Gen Con in general. So go click all of those and become a follower of all the wonderful content and consume it all. So there you go. That's right. Glorfindi. How do you say? Is it
I'm pretty sure
Glorfind?
that's a bot.
Best viewers on, it might be. But I would say Gen Con TV does have the best viewers.
Yeah.
So
Take that, bot.
that's right. If you're a bot, I don't know if you're a bot. We'll find out. It probably is.
We had 2 of them last week.
No, 2 bots. That's bothersome.
Oh my goodness.
Don't bother me.
That's right. Let's take a minute and look at everybody's models and see how they're looking.
Yeah.
All right.
Come on to the little
Will,
guy.
let's have Will start it off. You.
Here's the Black Hawk coming along. Starting to put those red highlights on there.
Sick.
And then the Daishi Timberwolf.
Looking good, Will.
She's a beaut.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are awesome.
And then quite different is the other ones. I was going with green. These are not like a throwback to some of my first models. And I just put some shade in there and another coated green on them.
Yeah, those are sick. Those are really good. Sick.
Yeah.
And how about you, Mark? Let's see what you got going on.
All right, so I finally got some gold on this little guy here. Ooh, which way are we going? And so that little guy, then the bulk of the time, like blocking this guy out.
Nice.
He's looking awesome.
Yeah, these are all looking great. Both of you are killing it.
We'll do a little wash on this guy and set it out.
Yeah, that looks so good.
What about you? Let's see this.
All right. We'll go to the overhead. So we've got this gent.
Oh yeah.
We need to bring it.
Oh man, he is popping now. Look at that.
Yeah. Looks beautiful.
Yeah.
He went from a chocolate chip or mint chocolate chip ice cream cone to some perfection.
Yeah, it's looking like he's ready to go right into that battle and do the thing. And then there's this little cat.
Oh yeah. I said I wasn't going to do it, but you're inspiring me to add some weird color to it, to at least one of these guys.
I thought I was going to get you to have a moment of emotion and cry, but okay.
That's why I'm off camera right now.
And then finally, this gentleman right here.
Oh, that one's really good. Yeah, I like the little bits, doodads of red, and
yeah. So yeah, super nerdy.
That's the Nova Cat.
The Nova Cat.
The Nova Cat.
All right, and then next week what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll base these and kind of show off a little bit about what we do for basing. And the reason I bring it up for basing is before we came on the episode today, someone was complaining about how their snow basing got all over the place. And so we're going to see who can make the biggest mess.
Army painters, I just got it all over again with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's going to be fun because the scale is so different with BattleTech. Like the trees would be about as tall as their feet.
Right. And that would be like a real tree, not a little tuft. Whereas I'm probably going to do mostly like that fine grained sand, the brown sands, and then I'll put like some of the bigger like cork-esque looking rock formations around it because I don't want to put tufts or anything on the bases.
The rocks.
But it'll be interesting to see how they turn out like that. Yeah, those right there. Are those actual rocks or are those the cork?
The cork, so that's the battlefield rocks from the Army painter, our good friends Army painter. And I use the heck out of it for this kind of Martian kind of look. Did it with red, and that was right, kind of like a Lord of Change from.
Oh yeah, that looks super cool.
But that was cool. I used super glue on them because the PVA glue just wasn't holding it down. Okay. And definitely open a window when you're doing that. But it's like it's substantial at this point. It's like
nice.
Feels like
concrete. That's
funny. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I love that. So easy to apply.
So this weekend is the Conquest event on Saturday the 8th here at Hoplite Games. So if anybody watching is in the Lansing or surrounding area and would like to come out and participate, if you already play Conquest, or if you want to just come and see how the game is played, we're probably going to have a decent amount of tables filled up with some really amazing armies and worthy of coming and checking out. And we'd love to have anybody out there to come and do that. So
that is one of the fun things, like getting to see all those beautifully painted armies, like in action. I love that. We got into the tournament scene just to keep going back and seeing those paintings that move.
It's wild, right?
Yeah.
Paintings that move. Because that's a fact right there. There's so many artists out there that are just killing it in regards to, like, I've seen people who paint miniatures that it looks like an oil painting when you see it as a picture, but if there's a slight movement in it, you're like, holy crap, that's a 3-dimensional piece. It's amazing how they can do that. It's I'm not there yet, but I don't really feel like I want to get there. I just want to play with my toys because those people are making miniatures, I think, to play with. They're making them to compete with, which is fine. It's one of the wonderful parts of this hobby is you can find your joy in any level of how you paint your miniatures.
Yeah.
So
100%.
Yeah. Well, I think we're getting about that time. It is Actor Roki coming up next. So make sure you stay tuned. It'll be about 20 minutes or so before they come on. So if you are, down to clown, hang out, watch what they're going to show between this and that. And so I am Rick.
No, Mark.
I got you both. And we will see you at a friendly local game store.